Okay, looks like we're live. Decided to do a live stream tonight. Oh, that's really loud. Okay, maybe that's better. Decided to do a live stream tonight where I'm gonna do some color grading, and I'm gonna use a top 10 best TV shows of 2022 as my starting point. Boy, that's really annoying. I don't know if I want to fix that ear thing now. Whatever. Maybe I'll get used to it. Esquire's 10 best TV shows of 2022, because when you think of 10 best of everything, you think of Esquire. Basically, I just Googled 10 best TV shows, and it's the first thing that came up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into DaVinci Resolve, and I grab the 10 best TV shows, and I also grab some stock footage of myself. There's me making a face. See if we have more. There's also me making another face, and there's me a third time making a pretty much the same face. So yeah, so I'm going to color grade at least one of these 3 shots every time. I picked 3 because they're different lighting environments to try to match what we're trying to do. Oh, hold on. Keyframes are not. Yeah, that's fine. So I'm going to pick one of these 3 shots for every one of these to light, or that matches the lighting most closely. I'm going to try to color grade to the show. So the show in question, we're going to go from 10 to 1 according to Esquire's judgment on what's the best. So let's just jump into it. Blah, blah, blah. Big blurb at the front talking about, here we go. Number 10, Interview with a Vampire. Haven't seen it, but I have looked at the trailer as of today. So let's do that. Let me just put a title on there, make it legit, you know? Okay, so Interview with a Vampire. Let's try to find, before we get into the color grade, let's try to find a good shot that most closely approximates what we're trying to do here. I'm just gonna take the headset out. Whatever, that's fine. See you later, audio. Okay, let's try to find an interior shot with some kind of reasonable lighting to match what we're doing. Oh man, that's wild. Very gothic. That's the vibe I'm getting before anything else. Interview with the Vampire. Come on, let's find a shot that we can deal with. Oh, I think I could probably do that. I think that's our best chance, so let's do that. We're going to go into switch to page, color. Oh, you know what? I forgot to. How embarrassing. Nope. Media page. What am I doing? We got to turn mine back on. There we go. Workspace, switch to page, color. Yeah, so that's the shot that we're going to try to match, and we're going to pick one of these 3. I think I already know, but let's audition these just to be sure. Put this away. There we go. And we'll keep that scope out for later. Selected clips. Okay. So which of these most approximates that? It's definitely this, because it's sort of a daylight-ish light, and then amber incandescent practical lights. That's definitely the move. That seems to be the cool thing to do these days. I feel like every show is doing that now, which I'm not complaining. I like the look a lot, but it's not normal. This is a much more normal look, or this is a much more normal look. This is just daylight in general, and this is incandescence, and it's balanced for incandescence. So it's balanced for tungsten. So it's balanced for yellow, basically. But this is, the face has blue daylight on it, and it's balanced for that, and then it's got yellow incandescence. Very much the same thing here, so it's going to be those 2. So let's see. Oh, and I can walk through this. So this shot is off my Blackmagic Pocket 4K, so I can see what it says. It doesn't say much, does it? No. Okay. It's it would have been finished in ProRes, and then I re-encoded it to H.265 just because, you know, for what I'm doing, I don't need it to be ProRes. ProRes is for fancy stuff. It's not a big deal for me. For what I'm doing for this, it's still 10-bit. It's still in. I can prove that over here. Let's see here, 10-bit, 1920, 1080, 10-bit. Yeah. So anyway, what we have in this node tree to begin with is first off, this is just the log footage as it is. This is a color space transform to get it into Rec 709. And then I did an ISO change. So I went in and changed the exposure under HDR, just added half a stop because I like that more. And then this is just a white balance because I don't, even though I white balance off of a gray card, I don't really trust the white balance of my camera. So I've adjusted it. So that's all I've done so far. So to get it to look like Interview with the Vampire, well, let's pull up the scopes because I don't think it's going to be a whole lot of work. We'll see though. I've said that many times and I've embarrassed myself many times. So looking at it, we can look at the waveform to make it a little bit more clear. Everything is dark, everything is at the bottom, except for some of the candles are all the way to the top. Some of these lights in the candles are also all the way to the top. I guess I could argue that could be all the way to the top if I wanted it to. It's not right now, but I could do that. But more importantly, I want to make sure the skin tone's right. I want to make sure the color palette is right. It looks like the candles and my lights are more or less where they need to be. And it's low key, so it's very dark. This is sort of lowish key. I mean, it's dark. It's definitely not high key. It's not a high brightness background, but yeah. So I think the first thing I want to do is just do an exposure / contrast node just to try to get it closer. So I think I like the contrast where it is. I think we just need to drop the exposure, and there's a few ways to do it. I think I might try my wheels first. There's also this graph we could use, but I think for what we're doing, I just want to drop everything. So we could try the offset, but I might use the gain because I don't necessarily trust the offset. You know, actually, I ain't mad at that. I like that a lot. I think we need to fix the toe because nothing in this shot is actually all the way black. So let's bring the toe back up. But that's pretty good. He has a lot more dark around him. Like this wall is more close to this wall, but the sort of the room that he's in is dark, where I guess my couch sort of fixes that. We do have a red there. That's a really, I mean, there's a lot of material that's actually very similar in this. I think yeah, okay. Well, let's look at vectors. Let's look at the colors. The colors seem to be fine too. I'll drop the saturation so we can just look at the vampire thing. Yeah, it's all living in yellow world. That makes sense. There's a little bit of blue, which is this here and here. If you've never seen a vector scope, the further out of the vector scope, the more saturation. And then the location on the vector scope is color. So it's red, magenta, blue, cyan, green, yellow. And so this is the skin tone line. A lot of stuff likes to live around the skin tone line, which is kind of an orange. But we'll bring the saturation back. And let's see here. Honestly, I'm pretty happy with that. I'm going to grab a still of this because I want to actually compare these two. Oh, no, that's not the right still. Let's delete that still. Grab a still of that, and then we'll look at this. So, they're going to let me. There. Oh, yeah, I see it. Here it is. All right, let's flip it. Yeah, I mean, okay, so there's a little bit going on. His face is darker, but I'm okay with that because it's context. He's surrounded by darkness. I'm surrounded by a little bit less, or a little bit more brightness. But as far as faces go, he's right on the skin tone line, right where he should be, and I also am. But he seems to be, yeah, he seems to have a little bit more saturation for his brightness, where I don't. So I could stand to, I guess, add a little bit of saturation. But other than that, I'm not so sure I'm too worried about this looking all that different. I do need to do, it looks like a teal push into the low lights. That might be about it. I mean, it's not as aggressive as a grade as you might think, honestly. I'm pretty happy with it. And even that low lights thing, yeah, let's try it. We'll do a little, like a really soft teal and I guess Teal and Straw. I was saying Teal and Orange, but that's not even really a thing anymore. So actually, we'll just call this exposure 2 because I do want to bring down exposure on my face a little bit, just because I feel like I should. And we need to bring up the lift to compensate. You know what? Maybe we don't. Let's just bring up some log. And then, yeah, bring the. I feel like we lost all of our contrast by doing that. Let's try a different way to do it. Let's use the graph. So maybe something like that. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't like that. You know, why mess with what's working, I guess. Let's just lower the offset just a little. Maybe the brightness. It's highlights. I mean, honestly, I don't even know if I want to do that. Let's just leave it where it was. Don't mess with a good thing. Let's just do a Teal and Straw. So we know the lowlights have a little bit of teal in them, just a tiny bit though. So we'll just do just a little push. Needs to go a little greener than that though. There we go, something like that. And we know everything else kind of has sort of a straw red. So let me go into the vector scope and see if we can play around a little bit. Where's he? Oh, he's okay. So he's right there. Go along this line. I don't even know if I like that. Maybe do it in the highlights. I think that's relatively close. So I didn't do much. Just some exposure and a little bit of color adjustment. I'd say I buy it. I have a lot more bright, low saturated skin than him, but he's sort of sitting in the darkness. I guess if I really wanted to, I could make a gradient. Put a power window over my face. Just really do it that way. We'll soften the crap out of it. And reverse it and do a little bit of that. Maybe imply that there's a little bit of something going on here. And then just bring it down, right? I need to reverse it. Okay, so that was too aggressive, but maybe something like that. Yeah, I buy that. So there is our interview with a vampire look. Okay, so let's jump on to the next one, which is going to be the bear. The bears. Let's see here. So let's go back to the edit page. So we're going to try to find a good approximation of one of these 3 shots in the bear. And I've done this before with the bear, so I'm pretty confident I'll find something. If you haven't seen the bear, I recommend. It's the experience of having an ulcer. It really is, but it's a very good show. Very well written. It's pretty wild though. It's very intense. Maybe that may be a little too aggressive, but I'll put a marker there just in case. I think I could pull that off right there. Let's do that. So cool. So let's talk about what we see in the bear before we try to assign one of my colors to it, or assign one of my shots to it. Well, there's a lot going on. His skin tones look more or less natural. It's kind of the vibe of shooting on film. I don't remember whether they shot on film. I'm pretty sure they shot on film, but I don't remember. But we have sort of some practicals that are different colors. So we have some very orange practicals with these can lights. There's a can light there that's off, but everywhere there's these little orange can lights. That's what this is supposed to be. I think there's a can light right here. And then we got sort of a less yellow practical, and then everything else is green to sort of give you that vibe of maybe like fluorescent lights. So in theory, this would be green too, and I think in some shots they are, but not in this one. But again, it's a stylized look, but it's not super aggressive. It's just kind of it's a bit of a film emulation. I'm not going to use a film emulation just because I feel like I'd have to work backwards too much, and I'm better off just trying to match colors. But yeah, you know, this is what I would expect from like some kind of shooting on film. So let me just make sure nobody's spamming me with prawn. Yeah, okay. So let's try to find out of my three shots which is most like it. I think we all know the answer right away, but let's just go ahead and check. It's going to be this one again, isn't it? Because this again is just daylight, and this is, so it's going to, you know, you're going to have different color lights. It's going to be that one again. So that's what we're doing. All right, so I think I could just play fast and loose with this because I've done this color grade a couple times. So we want contrast, but we do want to save our skin tones. Let's go ahead and grab a still of this. There we go. So we want contrast, but we do want to save our skin tones. Put stuff into the deep, deep, deep dark, because that is, you know, that's the way the world works. And so, like news reporter, you put your face up here. The bear, Carmi, looks like he's, oh, I don't know, maybe below 512. I'm in news reporter zone, obviously, so yeah. And then again, we got sort of a teal in the darks, and then kind of a gold orange. So a take on the teal orange look for sure. So let's just see if we can knock it out real quick. I'm gonna do some exposure, and then I'll disable these right now. Exposure, and then we want to do, I'll have this be the teal orange, and TBD on that middle one. So it's exposure, yeah, it's real simple. We just gotta drop everything again. I'm gonna do it differently this time. I'm gonna use HDR, and I'm gonna kill the exposure I already put on it. For clarity's sake, I won't. I'll leave all these adjustments that I started with up here. Let's just drop the exposure until we get into sort of the right territory. I can already tell I need more saturation in my skin than what we have, but that's fine. Maybe something about there-ish. And that actually makes my shirt match his apron quite nicely. I'm very happy with that. We do need to drag up the bottom, because like the other shot, nothing's actually on the bottom. So something like that. And we do need to add some more contrast. So let's just add something, maybe something there. Maybe we can go back and bring up the exposure. We'll call this -1. How about? So there's our first adjustment. That's getting us there. Let me look at Carmi's skin tones. I keep calling him Carmi because his name is Carmine. I think his skin tones are regular. They're pushing a little. They're being motivated by. They're being, you know, affected by that. They're pushing a little that way. But on his face, it's fairly close to on the skin tone line. So maybe just a little bit of a push towards yellow. That's fine. I'm okay with that. We can. What does my face look like? It's just right on it, right? Yeah. Okay. So we'll push the skin tone just a little bit to the yellow. But before I do that, I want to do the teal and orange look, or the teal and gold look, because I think that's going to help a lot. Because once again, we can sort of cheat and just look at the saturation on this. Everything living in sort of a yellow corner, and then a little bit of a green, which is going to be the background, obviously, and then just a little bit of the blue corner. Nothing in magenta world, which is pretty nice. And if you look at mine, a lot in magenta world. So, I mean, not a lot, but like not nothing. And there's a lot of red there. So yeah, so we need to everything needs to shift down into the left. And what we can do is we'll do just a big full sort of push to green to start us off with. And that might have fixed the skin tone conundrum. Yeah, I buy that as the skin tone solution. And then we just got to sort of trim it out. But again, there's not much to do. It's already looking pretty decent. I think it's worth it to push a little bit more green into the low lights. So we'll just do something like that. Actually, you know what? We'll do blue into the low lights. A little bit of green into the midtones. That's too much, I can already tell. Maybe a little bit of green into the low lights too. I mean, that's pretty close, right? I mean, I need to fix the contrast now again, so let's do it on this node because the contrast kind of got messed up, but I mean, honestly, I don't hate that. It looks like we need to lift up red a little bit out of the shadows because something got messed up there. I'm kind of feeling that, and then we'll just we'll call this secondaries. So we did a contrast adjustment, and what we can do is we can make sure the highlights go flying because they do in this show, and maybe the mid-tones a little bit just to give it a little bit of spiciness, right? I think that's, other than the fact that again my forehead is just a million degree, you know, super bright compared to everything else, I think that's a pretty solid approximation of what we're trying to do here, the bear. So I think they shot on film, so this was all baked in. They may have just done, you know, some post fanciness, but not a lot. But I'd say that's fairly close. I can also mid-tone detail. I can take some out if I really wanted to soften up. I don't like that. Maybe take some color boost out. Put some in. Nah. Why mess with a good thing? So there's your bear right there. Not too tough. Obviously not the way they did it, but I'd say I'd buy that. It's close enough, you know. If I had more green in my image, I think it would be even a closer match. But cool. Switch to the next one. So it's going to be what we do in the shadows is the next thing that we've been told is the. So we said interviewing a vampire. We said the bear. Esquire is saying what we do in the shadows. I really enjoyed this season of What We Do in the Shadows. I don't know why I enjoyed it so much compared to the rest of the seasons, but it really did, like, just I was drinking the Kool-Aid 100%. Big fan. So yeah, let's do What We Do in the Shadows, and once again, let's just turn off my shots and find a. Okay, so that's a possibility right there with candlelight. The club, I don't want to do the club, even though the club has a lot of purple in it. That'd be interesting. I could do Naja. I could do that. I really could. I don't know if I want to. We'll mark it. I'll mark this other one too. Fix the through edit. So this show is very much motivated by, man, I could do a pink. It's not the show though. That's just her goofy room that she's in doing testimonials. That's, yeah. What did I stop at? That one or that one? I mean, yeah, let's do this. I don't know if it's going to be hard or not, but we'll find out. So let's go ahead and color grade to what we do in the shadows. And I'm pretty sure I know which of my shots is the most close to it. But I do want to explain why. So we have what we do in the shadows, and what we're seeing and what we do in the shadows here is everything is motivated. So there's actually, it's being lit. There's lighting in the room, but it's all motivated light. So these candles are doing a little bit. You can see it hitting their hands, but I'm pretty sure this candlelight is not hitting Matthew Barry. I think there must be a light up there throwing it up on him. It looks like it is because it's sort of coming from the back, back of the stage to forward of the stage, close to the camera. And if you look, the rest of these lights, they're not doing much. These lights are sort of affecting their area, but they're not casting a huge amount of light. Nor is that. So again, it's the sort of the Hollywood of it all. It's put the practicals in the scene to make the ambiance, and then use that as motivation to light the rest of it. I'm fairly certain everything in this room is amber incandescent, indoor lighting basically. There could be a fill light that's blue because that's a good way to contrast it. But for the sake of what we're doing, I'm not even gonna mess with that. I'm gonna pick the one that I know I'm not gonna use hardly ever, which is this one where it's incandescent lights. The whole thing is lit with the same color lights. That really is how yellow that wall is. That wall is just ridiculous how yellow it is. The paper on these pictures is like skin tone colored almost. It's not quite because I look like a hot dog and it looks like a burned hot dog, but yeah. So I'm gonna go with the weird one that is probably not gonna get used quite as much. Let's go ahead and grab a still just in case, and we'll click on it. There we go. Okay. So Bad Hair Day matte is going to be color graded towards what we do in the shadows. Let me just check see how we're doing. Yeah, we're fine. Yeah, let's do it. Okay, so first thing I just want to, cards on the table. I shot it with the wrong white balance, and that was on purpose because there's a lot of stuff nowadays that is shot, especially on film, with daylight balanced film under tungsten, and everything turns orange. But for what we're doing, I balanced it, and so that's as balanced as it's going to get. It's not perfect, but that's basically white balanced. Yeah, and so how do we get back to orange? Well, the easiest way is to start from there, but I don't necessarily think that's the best way to do it. So let's see if we can do it. First thing we want to set the exposure, and honestly, the exposure looks fine. It could stand to go down more because again, this is very low key dark background, and my background's a little bit higher than that. So we'll call this exposure. Whoa, easy there. There we go. I can hear Foo Fighters playing in the other room. I hope the mic's not picking that up. All right, so let's just let's drop the offset this time. I've been doing it a little bit. Actually, you know what? Let's use the squiggly graph this time. You know what? Their lights are going to the top, so it's got to be here somewhere. Something like that, and then maybe bring this up just a well. It's touching the ground, so maybe we'll have to bring it down. And then we need to bring stuff way down. So it's going to be reverse S the way I'm doing it. There we go. It's too intense though, isn't it? It's a little too intense. That's just, not all ideas are good ideas. Let's just do it the regular way. Let's just drop midtones down because that's really what we're doing. Oh, we're in log. Because if you look at the exposure on their faces, there's actually pretty decent exposure on their faces. It's just everything else that drops down. So maybe we'll actually just... Stumped. Yeah, let's just drop the exposure. That's fine, whatever. Something like that. We'll have to probably do some kind of way to get the room darker, just because they have black walls and I don't. As far as white balance goes and the color balance, there is definitely room for improvement. What we can do is we can look at the skin tone on Laszlo or Nadja, and it's very orange. It's wildly orange. But even whatever his name is, the big guy, I think it's still probably pretty orange. No, he's actually good. He's right on it. No, he's orange. So we do need to push orange. Almost the entire image is in the sort of the orange spectrum. Good to know. Mine is not, but we can change that quite easily. So we can do an offset. We'll probably do that. It's a weird orange, but I think we can fix that by just a little bit of just finessing, and then let's just go ahead and get rid of that blue altogether. Do hue versus sat. Let's get rid of blue. There we go. Got rid of some of the green shirt too, which is good. We could ditch the green too. Getting sloppy, I can already tell. And then yeah, just we'll call this color. What a lame way to describe that. Anyway, yeah, let's just do background, and we'll try to knock it out as quickly as possible. I'm not a big believer in keying for complication reasons. Basically, when you take a key, it only works on whatever you're grabbing. So like if I grab that, only this shot is you're gonna have to go, if you apply this to other shots, you're gonna have to go and adjust the key, which that's the annoying thing. That's why I try not to do keys whenever possible. Although this is working out pretty well. Yeah, see? And then we'll just narrow the width down, move the center. So I can get that, which is the opposite. Can I get to the opposite though? Yeah, like right there maybe. I don't think the lumen sliders even do anything for me. Okay, so that's fairly close. Something like that, and then I'll just blur it. This is messy. I would not be so messy in normal circumstances, but I'm just kind of just going for it. Something like that. Okay, there's our key, and we just need to knock it down. So let's knock this sucker down. We'll do it in gain. So we need to fix the in-out ratio. Something like that, though. I mean, really, it's so dark that their place is like this. So let's see if we can just adjust the in-out ratio and try to fix it. We can do blur radius. I mean, I don't love it. I'll say that right now. Maybe I went too aggressive. And those lights are the wrong color, so let's do it. do another node to try to grab those lights. Man, I'm all over the place. This is messy. Well, I grabbed it, so in my hand, but that's fine. I don't actually care, I don't think. Yeah. Get a little bit on the hand. There we go. Okay. And we need to get those lights amber. We just do. So let's just push them amber. Let me add some saturation. Yeah, there we go. I mean, I don't know if I'd call that a win. I think I'm trying too hard with this stuff. Let's just get this, let's turn the stuff off. That's pretty close. I could, you know what, there's another way to do this. We'll be even lousier about it. We'll do do one of these. Gotta flip it. There we go. I mean, I don't hate that now that I'm looking at it. It's not perfect, but I don't hate it. It's a little glowy around my head. I could fix the key a little bit more, I think. I don't hate it though. And yeah, we just need to make sure that those lights get more orange, so push some warmth into it. Something like that. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. Maybe add a little bit of warmth into this too. I mean, honestly, is that an appreciable difference from what I went from? I don't know. No wrong answers, I guess, but that wasn't tremendous. Let me check on the feed. Yeah. It is what it is. Let's go to the next one. So we finished what we do in the shadows. Let's go to Star Trek: Strange New Worlds. I've also done this one before, but you know, you gotta acknowledge Esquire. They said number 7 was Star Trek: Strange New Worlds, and sure, you know. Clear in and out. There we go. Let's see if we can find a good, reasonable person standing in a thing. Maybe that. Hope I'm not giving anybody a seizure as I scrub through this stuff. Could be that. I don't know. That seems like a lot of work because I know none of my backgrounds look even remotely like that. I don't know. He's in bed with somebody? There's a lot going on in this trailer. I think it's got to be this, right? Yeah, let's just do this. I know I can. Okay, we're going to switch to color. We're going to color to Star Trek: Strange New Worlds because, you know, it's number 7. This is rough. I'm not gonna lie to you. This is a whole lot. Okay, I'm gonna try to go faster because it's getting frustrating. Actually, I think these two are the closest, but I think these two are more like what they're supposed to be. I'm gonna do this one. I'm gonna do pink shirt guy. Yep. Okay. Just to walk you through again, this is for my black magic, and so I did 3 things. First one was I did a color space transform to get into Rec 709. I changed the exposure because I didn't like the exposure, and I changed the white balance just a little bit, but not a lot. That's all I've done. So let's go ahead and get into it. By looking at this image, there's a lot of gold, there's a lot of yellow. People's skins are very saturated, which is going to be a whole thing. But it's very much in the sort of like, I would call this the red camera space, where there's a lot of just like saturation in everything, and there's a lot of colors. This is not quite that, but I think I can loosely approximate it. So the first thing I want to do, I want to try to get the exposure nailed. And I think that just means dropping the exposure. And so this time I'm going to drop the exposure using a curve. So we'll just go ahead and drop it down. And we need to drop the midtones while also making sure there's highlights that stay up. And I'm already kind of grossed out by what I'm looking at, actually, but so this will be a contrast fix too. I mean, it's weird. It's certainly weird. Maybe I could, not be so aggressive about it. Maybe I'll mess with the highlights later. Something like, I mean, I don't hate that. Something like that. I'd say that's at least an approximation of the contrast. We will have to do a skin tone node for sure. But before we do skin tone, let's just try to get into this world, because this is a really saturated world. I think that's a bit of a green cast. We can look at the vector scope, and we'll just kill the saturation on mine. Yeah, I'd say yellow-green is the world it lives in, with a little bit of a blue. So it's again, it's sort of a more contemporary version of the teal orange, which is sort of a yellow cyan. Very much yellow though. So which I, it's kind of what they're doing is the experience of being in like a sunny day, which other things from this list will also do. So we could do that too. So let's go ahead and make it a sunny day, and that's not too hard. Something like that, maybe. I don't hate that. It's obnoxious, but your eyes get used to it. And then let's put a little bit of teal into the shadows. Sort of make things jump out. And then maybe a little bit more in midtones. Maybe not. Maybe do a little bit of midtone detail to trim it a little bit. Oh, no, not midtone detail. Color boost, I mean. It's not going to do anything. I mean, I think that's close. I think part of why his skin looks like that is they pushed the midtones down. So we'll call this the Teal and Straw, Teal and Orange. And we'll use the HDR curves for this, because what we can do is the stuff that shows up, which is going to be skin, looks like it's in the light. So we can boost the saturation in the light, and then we can also drop the exposure just a little bit. Something like that. I don't like how nuclear the shirt is, so let's go ahead and do a parallel node where we get rid of the shirt, because the shirt's not great. And let's just drop the pink shirt. Yeah. Oh, that's the wrong. We'll do luminance first. I just want to see where this shirt's sitting, because that's. Oh yeah, okay. So it's nowhere near skin tone. Thank God. All right. Let's drop the luminance of this shirt, and then we'll go over to hue versus sat and drop the luminance there too. or the saturation. I'd buy a shirt like that in this world. Maybe bring the luminance up a little bit. Yeah, something like that. It's way less obnoxious. I might even drop it down a little bit more, though. Just because they seem to like things that disappear. Yeah, something like that. It's grabbing the background, but I don't actually care because if you look, there's not a lot. I mean, there's a red touch there, but there's not, it's not crazy. And we can fix that by, that's where the red is, I think. Pretty close. I think that's pretty close, right? Maybe drop the exposure on my face even a little bit more. Maybe just by the whole image. We'll just do HDR. He also has, you know, bright, dark. Mine's flat, so there's that too. We can add a little bit of contrast as a consequence. Now we need to bring it back. I didn't like that. I mean, I'm pretty okay with that. I think we basically got it. More time could be done on the skin, but I mean, doesn't that feel like the world we're in? Don't we feel like we're floating in a world of pinks and yellows? Yeah, so moving on. Next up, we're gonna do the rehearsal, and I can already tell you this one's gonna go very fast because it's shot like a documentary, so I don't think there's anything at all going on with it. Grab the wrong mouse. Let me just check on the feed. Just speaking into the darkness. That's what we do. Okay, so the rehearsal. Let's pull it up. Esquire said it was number 9 with good old Nathan Fielder. So let's pull something out of the rehearsal that I think we can use. That could be useful. That could be useful. I'd like to do Nathan if possible, just because why not? Like that, maybe that. That's a maybe. When it's sort of doc style where you're just getting what you're getting even though it's lit, kind of your environment sort of dictates how everything looks. So in front of a brick wall it looks different, in the bar it looks different, you know, it's a different way of lighting. It's not theatrical lighting traditionally. I mean, it is, if you know anything about the show, it's very much theatrical, but you know, maybe that. I think I could light to that. He's obviously in shadow, but that's not a deal breaker. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into the color page. I hate that switch page and show page are right next to each other. That drives me crazy. Okay, so of these 3 shots, which shot most resembles Nathan looking over that lady's shoulder pretending to eat a chicken nugget? Well, we don't see any practicals in the shot, so I'd say probably that. If I had to say anything, I'd say probably this. Also, this is in Rec 709. These are Blackmagic, you know, these are very high bitrate, high varied color dense images. This is not. Let's use that. And again, there's not going to be much to do because once again, I white balanced it. So I actually shot it. I shot it with the wrong white balance on purpose because I was doing a thing. But to fix the white balance, we get there. That's close. It's not perfect. This wall really is that yellow. Obviously, he has blue walls in his environment, but as far as making these things match, I don't think there's much we have to do here. As far as exposure goes, I pull up the waveform. I'm a little bit brighter because his environment, even though we're both in high key environments, he has bright walls, I have bright walls. It's, you know, we're both sort of in the dark a little bit. So you bring the exposure down, and that might just be about it. So let's go ahead and just, maybe I'll fix the, yeah, we'll bring some toe up. So I just brought the toe up a little bit because his isn't in total darkness. There's not nearly as much contrast as you think there is. And then the other thing is, yeah, let's just bring the exposure down just a bit. And I think I'm gonna do that with the highlights. Nope, not in log though. Yeah, and so now you can see the real difference is my environment is much more sort of yellowy, and his is much more sort of pink. And let me just add a little bit of contrast back into. I'd say that's pretty close. I'm looking at skin tones and the flushness of his face versus the flushness of my face. I think the contrast adjustment was kind of the move, and I am in shadow mostly, and you can tell now. So there's like a light over here sort of casting onto my giant nose. I think that's pretty close. We could stand to maybe do a couple more adjustments, but nothing crazy. And so that's the beauty of, you know, there's a big argument to be made when there's a time and place to shoot and master it in Rec 709 and just baked in. I don't know that that's how they did that. I have a feeling he's so meticulous that he didn't allow them to do that. But the final look is very much a documentary look. In it looks like news. It looks like how they baked it in. So I think that's basically it. You know, the color balance more or less seems okay. I could stand to maybe get a little less yellow out. Take a little bit of yellow out. So maybe in the midtones we'll add some blue. And then we need to take some magenta out, which is add a little bit of green. And honestly, like I could do it maybe just a hair of exposure. I mean, I think those exist in the same world. Maybe a little bit more contrast. Maybe, yeah. So like, okay, so something like that. I'd say they exist in the same world. Not a huge difference. Yeah, no wrong answers, right? Let me just fix the toe. I think I went too high with the toe. Yeah, I did. Okay. So, yeah, not perfect, but I'd say reasonable. And if he was standing in front of a yellow thing like that, I'd say it would be even closer. Moving on. All right, who's up next? What did Esquire say is the next one after? So number 6 was The Rehearsal. Number 5 is We Own This City. And I'll be honest, I haven't watched a single second of it. I just didn't. But We Own the City. So let's see if we can find something in We Own the City that really works color-wise. This looks very, very conventional too. It's not quite as Rec 709, you know, regular camcorder style as The Rehearsal in its color palette, but it's not a huge deviation either, which I appreciate. Oh, can I get those guys in front of that wall? Those guys in shadow. That'd be too easy. Let me try to find a shot, an interior shot that actually reasonably could work. I don't know, gray background? I don't know. Man, it's stuttery. I don't know why it's so stuttery. I want to try to see if there's sitting in front of a practical light anywhere, but I don't think there is. I wonder if that shout from downstairs just made it up here. Whatever, we'll do this. I can make it work. I'm not sure which one to do though, so let's switch to the color page. And of my 3 versions of me that are so darn handsome, what's the closest? Well, we can get away with a lot because we don't see the practicals in the shot, so any of these could work. I have a feeling the way they shot it, it's daylight on the face and then tungsten for practicals. That's just my vibe. We could also do this, but I think based on the muted colors and based on the amount of work, I'm going to default to this. I think any of them would have worked though. Let's grab a still just in case. Okay, so We Own This City. What do we see? Well, It's a little bit low contrast, and you can see that by the vector scope. Stuff is fairly close to the middle. The only thing that's this nuclear blue is the computer screen, where they're listening to what it appears to be a voice recording. Everything else basically sits in the orange quadrant, the yellow to red, a little bit pushing green, which is the trim of the desk. But yeah, there's almost no magenta corner stuff, and then the cyan blue stuff is just mostly the screen, a little bit of his shirt, and so it looks like we got regular skin tones too, which I'm happy to see. Let's look at his head. Yeah, he's right on the skin tone line, and she, yeah, everywhere is right on the skin tone line. So muted colors. If my outfit wasn't so obnoxious, I'd say we're super good, but obviously I wear goofy outfits, so that's not going to help me. Yeah, but yeah, this is the node structure that I do for all my Blackmagic footage, because it doesn't come Rec 709, so you gotta transform it. So there's the transform, there's the exposure adjustment, there's a white balance adjustment. So it is what it is. Yeah, let's see here. Well, the exposure on my head needs to go down for sure, which will also most likely bring down the exposure of the room, but that seems like the right choice. So let's get after it. We own this city. I feel I don't own any city, but that's just me. Let's see here. Let's just do a regular global exposure adjustment. I'm looking at their skin. Really, their skin has some interesting highlights, which that'll be interesting to do. I think it's going to be maybe about there, and then I think we just need to boost the contrast because their highlights on their face are pretty bright. I'd say it's pretty close. And then I just need to clean up the bottom because their lower part is not nearly as dark as mine. So something like that. I don't hate it. Difference is we're seeing the dark side of their face, and they're lit from the far side, and I'm flat lit. But there's a little bit of adjustment going on. We can even make the contrast, make it look even more exaggerated, something like that, and then just bring up the low lights again. And for the sake of what we're doing, we might as well push the highlights all the way up. That was just a little thing I did there. Yeah, I mean, I don't hate it. I think I'm going to start over because I want to try to get the exposure of the background closer to the exposure of what they're doing. But yeah, we'll do HDR, and we'll do highlights, I believe, are what is grabbing. Yeah, okay. So let's drop the exposure of the highlights. Yeah, I don't like that at all. Let's try midtones in just the regular wheel. It's in log wheel. That's not going to work. Something like that, maybe, and then we'll just get some contrast in the upper part of the image to separate it. Yeah, I don't know. Was that lateral move? It kind of feels like it was, but I like this version better. So something like that. I don't like the amount of saturation in the skin, but I think we can fix that in a minute. We'll call this exposure. Call this, I don't know what to call this. Weirdly, I think my skin is a lot closer to his than to hers, so actually that might actually be working because the fall off as it goes into shadow, I think that's a lot more accurate. Really brings out the psoriasis in the face, So let's do some split toning. So we'll do some, looks like green and red. That's a new strategy. That's a new splits toning that we haven't seen yet. Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of there's something going on for sure. So let's just try this. Call it green and red. Christmas colors. relevant much. We'll push a little bit of green in the low lights. I don't love that. You know what? Let's do it this way. We'll do hue versus sat. Anything that's green gets pushed up. Anything that's blue gets pushed up. Anything that's red gets pushed up. And everything else gets desaturated, so dark blue goes down. Oh, I like that. Okay, magenta goes down. And now we could stand to take some yellow out. Glory be. And then yeah, let's back off on the red a little bit. Oh, I'm into that. That's kind of, I kind of have where it's red in mine is green in theirs, but I'm kind of into that actually. I like this drab look. Maybe go up a little bit on the blue just to not make it so sharp, but you know, it's a different kind of look, but I think it's a lot closer to what they were going for. I'm still a little concerned about how goofy my skin looks, but I think that, like, if you really look at the contrast on, we'll do side by side, and we'll do my face to his face. If you look at the contrast across his face and my face, I think that's kind of it. I think I should probably do a mid-tone detail adjustment just to save myself the humiliation. Well, there, that's that SNL sketch where that politician is blurry, but maybe something like that. What does she look like? Is she sharp? I can never... I mean, she's fairly soft too, so I think that's the move. I think, by George, I think we got there, more or less. I'm not super happy about the green, but the fact that I can see it sort of poking out, it's poking out. Yeah, I think that's probably pretty solid. Moving on. So that was We Own the City. Switch to page, edit, next one up. So this is, yeah, so just to reiterate, I'm color grading all the top 10 that Esquire told me to. Esquire said that We Own the City was number 5, now we're on number 4, The White Lotus. Do you pronounce it white? Is that how you're supposed to say The White Lotus? I like The White Lotus. It's definitely in my top however many of shows this year. It really impressed me. I loved the first season, and the second season absolutely blew my mind. So I'm not even sure I know which one I like more. So let's try to find a good shot for The White Lotus. I already kind of know what I have to do. I don't know if I've done a color grade to The White Lotus yet, but I've watched this show so intently I could probably just guess it. But I want somebody standing in front of a wall to at least approximate. That might be... That's a maybe. I don't really want to color grade to that guy because he's such a villain, but... maybe... Oh, maybe to... I'm thinking them, right? I think that gives us everything we want in the shot. Their characters were hilarious. I was absolutely dying. If you haven't seen it, high recommend. One's a hooker and one has like ambitions to be a hooker. It's a whole lot of stuff. I forgot to turn the shots back on. Yeah, man, that show tickles me. I might just go back and watch it again just because there's a lot going on. I wonder how much I would notice having already known it now. What is going to be closest to this? Well, that practical light's not on, so that's not helpful, but this light is, and that's definitely a tungsten light, but also the whole world is sort of this sun-kissed sun-kissed, like warm yellow that the White Lotus did. A lot of shows did it this year, but even during daytime, like everything is sort of sun-kissed, which is the whole thing. And the first season was this way too. Like look at this. This is the sky. There's almost no blue in the sky. It's basically like a desaturated sky because you're living in like the gold beauty of the sun as he's, fiendishly fighting somebody. But at nighttime it's kind of the same thing. So could do this. I think I'd rather do this because I have a theory. So let's see how we can color grade to the White Lotus using me in a blue shirt, making a face that is regrettable. Once again, this is out of my Blackmagic camera, so I had to do a little bit of massaging ahead of time. So this is how it looked out of the camera. Here's how you get it into Rec 709. This is just color space transform. There's a exposure adjustment because I like it, and there is a white balance adjustment because I didn't really trust the white balance out of my camera, although looking at the screen it looks a little pink to me, but that's fine. I don't really care. So what do we see in the White Lotus? We see everything is a little bit yellow gold. We see, and you can see that on the vector scope. Everything is sort of in the gold triangle here, if that's a thing. There's also a big blue swoosh, which is her dress, and this guy's jacket, and the potted plant. And so that's kind of what we live in. We're living in another split toning environment. Again, I wouldn't call this teal orange, but it's definitely closer to teal orange of a look than anything else. And so I think that's probably the move. The big advantage when you go teal orange, and I'm not trying to pay Michael Bay a compliment because that seems like the wrong idea, but when you go teal orange, because human skin does kind of live in orange, you can keep adding more orange and your brain kind of is like, okay, well, that's still skin. And then because teal is sort of the complementary, or not the complementary, but the contrasting color, the opposite color, it makes it even more of a thing. So having stumbled over that explanation, let's go ahead and let's just White Lotus it. We'll grab a still. I think I just grabbed all stills. Did I? No. I can delete this still. I don't need that. Okay, so let's get into it. Well, I need to be in a much more yellow world, but before I do that, I want to try to get the exposure and the contrast right. Oh, look at the waveform. So this is me, this is them. Obviously, everything is a lot darker. They're sort of living in a much darker world, but if you look, nothing's black, and so there is a toe, and you can see that toe because there's sort of a milky thing going on with this guy's jacket in the back of her chair. Obviously, mine's not doing that, so that's something to do. So we'll do a few things. I think I'm just going to do a straight up, I think I'm just going to do a gain drop just to see if we can get into the zone. How did I do? I wasn't watching it very well. I don't like that. Can we do an offset? And then do gain? Or maybe something like that. Bring it back up. Something there, and then we need to fix the toe as we discussed. So there's the. Okay, so that's our exposure. It's not perfect, but I don't hate it. I could even probably stand to add a little bit of contrast into it too. Although they're being backlit, and so they're actually not all that contrasty. I'm front lit, and so I'm just a big hotspot. Two different ways, and so does the edge of her cheek match my face is really the question. The answer is probably not. Yeah, maybe we'll go a little bit down on midtones too. That makes it milky. I don't know. That's fine. Let's just go ahead and jump into the teal/orange look because that's going to do most of the work for us, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, the way I like to do it is in log, and so I like to do teal first in the shadow. I just push a little down right. That was way too much already. So just a tiny, tiny bit. just to sort of change the way things are sitting. And they actually, I think in the blackest black, and maybe I'll fix that. In the black, well, I don't actually have any real black in my image. In the blackest black, things are black, and when you do a teal orange look, things that are black turn teal. There's a way to fix it, but honestly, actually, I don't think it's a big deal. Orange, here we go. I'm gonna do it in the midtones because most of this thing takes place in the midtones, so there's no real reason to do it in the highlights. Let's just go orange until it feels absolutely inappropriate. More of a yellow, there we go. Something like that. There seems to be like a green thing going on. We can take a little bit of green out. That. Yeah, maybe actually add that green back in. Honestly, I feel a little gold. Go this way with it a little bit. I don't hate it though. It helps that these are Italian girls with absolutely insane skin, and I am just, you know, a Cetaphil commercial all over my face. But I'd say that's relatively close. The walls are, I don't know how I feel about the walls. What we could do is we could actually change the offset too. That's too aggressive though. I don't know if I like that. Let's try highlights. Highlights is a good trick to teal and orange because then it doesn't affect the skin tone. So that's a good trick too, but I don't know that I like that either. I want to try. Let's try gain. It's touchy. I could have done it a different way, but I mostly buy that. I'd say that's in the universe. I'm not super happy that there's blue light hitting this wall, but honestly, you know, if you look at the red details and the flowers, I'm seeing that and that and that. I'm seeing the couch. It kind of looks like his jacket. I buy it. I buy it, considering I look like I'm huffing and puffing and about to blow a house down. Anyway, yeah, there's your White Lotus. Who else wants to dance? Number 3, Andor. Okay. Well, this is one that I definitely have not watched because I don't have Disney Plus. I'm one of those. You know, sorry kids. But let's try to get a look towards Andor. I think it'll be really easy because Disney and to a lesser extent Marvel, but definitely Star Wars, they do an absolute like unreal job in their color grades. Some people don't like the quality of the not the quality, the kind of their color grades, like the colors they use, but the actual technical level of it is unreal. So let's go ahead and find a still from Andor. One thing I've noticed though with all these virtual production things is everybody's sort of standing within a certain amount of feet of each other, and you can tell that they all have to stand there because the wall's right there. And once you see it, again, like right there, once you see it, you just can't not see it. Again, just everywhere. Yeah, they're all like strategically standing kind of in the middle of that droid too. I mean I get it, like it sells, but once you realize that the characters have to be in the middle, it's a whole thing. And so I hope they fix that. Again, like, come on, guys. Stunning looking, but still, like you can tell that they're in whatever the loop or the void or whatever, because they're all standing in the middle every single time. Yeah, right. So it's a good looking show, though. Oh, that might be the move. I like that a lot. I think that's the move. Let me just see if I can find anything else that's even that. Like, again, we know where she's probably right up against the void or whatever that thing is called, the LED wall. White. I don't have enough white in my room to really pull that off. I don't want to be uncool, that's the thing. You know what? I want to do... All right, either or. Well, I know for a fact I can do this. I don't know if I can do this because I don't have any contrast in my shots because I was not thinking about that when I did it. Let's do that. Let's do this one. All right, let's knock out Andor. So other than it's blurry because it's a motion shot, what can we see? Well, we can see the Disney Plus logo apparently. We have another one of those contemporary teal oranges a little bit, but it's sort of, this one is sort of a teal straw or a teal tan. And part of that is, again, production design. Look at all the tan, look at all the teal, that's for sure. But yeah, I mean, it's a take on the teal orange. And so in the dark, there's a lot of teal, and in the light, I'd say tan or straw a little bit. This looks a little bit tan. I don't know if I would call that white. I would call this white. So, and then other than that, everything just kind of looks soft and friendly. This again makes me think of maybe a Red Camera, or maybe something, maybe not Arri Alexa, but just, you know, something that there's so much visual color depth there that you can really, like, the gradients can go crazy. Part of it is also they definitely mastered this in HDR, even though this is not HDR. So given that, who wants to dance? It's got to be this, right? I could make this work and just change the lights. Maybe that. Yeah, let's do that. I don't want to have to deal with that yellow shirt. Let's grab a still. Oh, there's my face, looking down, looking sad. Okay. Yeah, so this is just the general stuff to get it into Rec 709 world. So, all right. Well, I can already tell you nothing's gonna hit the bottom. Yeah, there's definitely a toe here that nothing goes out of, and everything kind of sits near the bottom. Honestly, I may have exposed this correctly for this because I'm like not teleporter. I'm like TV reporter bright. My face is, and so I think this is actually the more compatible one. Let's just get the exposure right. I'm gonna do it for real. I'm gonna take this seriously this time. So we're gonna do real exposure. Something like that. And then maybe just a little bit in, no, I don't like that. Maybe dark. No, I don't like that either. How do I feel about that? I'm pretty glowy, but that can be fixed. Let's fix the, wrong thing. There we go. Let's fix the toe. And maybe we'll knock down the squishiness on my face by doing that. I don't usually like to mess with mid-tone log just because but it is very much like she's evenly lit. So cool. And you can see a shadow. You can see a shadow. By George, I'm doing it. I'm still kind of shiny though. That's fine. I don't care. I will boost the exposure back just a tad because I think this is a little bit too much. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of liked what I was doing actually. And let me just see here if this is, there's light. Okay. So what we can do is if I do shadow, is it gonna, yeah. Let's just leave the exposure alone. Maybe we'll mess with the saturation a little bit. And no wrong answers. I don't like that I'm shiny, but she's not because she's in a world of beautiful light, and I'm a mole person. I'll bring the exposure up just a hair, just to. Actually, I should do it right. So she is sitting. The red's at 512 and the green's at 384, and I'm at, yeah, okay. Different color composure, but yeah, okay. Let's just do a teal straw. So I don't want to do it in HDR wheels though. I want to do it in log. We're going to go pretty aggressively teal with it. And we will do some straw on the highlights, and then we'll bring back the midtones. I think I went too far. I don't like that. Let me start over. Let's just do it real meticulous. So we'll add a little bit of blue, a little bit of green. We'll take away a little bit of blue, take away a little bit of green, and then we will add some more blue, add some more green, and we'll take away the green, we'll take away the blue. I don't like what it's doing. Is that a contrast thing, maybe? No. I don't know why I don't like it. I don't know why. I don't know why. It could be that they colored it really aggressively and then they squashed it down, did a final exposure thing. I don't know if I'm willing to go through that though. Let's just start over. Let's just do it weird. Okay, so HDR, we're going to bring the exposure down. And we're going to lift the midtones. And then we're going to bring the exposure even more down. We're going to fix the toe. Yeah, there's a better way to fix the toe. Something like that. I mean, I don't love it. Oh, I put it on the wrong node too. That doesn't help. I don't love it, but it is what it is. So let's do a teal and blue. I could do a teal and blue in this, but I don't know if I'm willing to. Yeah, let's try it. It's too crazy. It's too crazy even for me. Let's just go back to log. I know what I'm doing in here. Ish. Bit of teal. Maybe there is no straw. Maybe there's just a little bit of that. And we'll just bring the saturation down because the saturation maybe is out of control. It doesn't seem that way. Yeah, it is. It's out of control. Okay, that's pretty close. And then let's just get rid of these lamps. And that will be just a, we can do HDR. It's probably in the highlight if I had to guess. Yeah, there we go. Okay. There we go. Take the saturation out. Yeah, I don't like that. Do it the gross way. We'll do it. We'll do a qualifier. Cool. Yeah, not a fan of qualifiers because they don't transfer very efficiently from thing to thing, but for what we're doing, I'm just doing little tiny adjustments anyway. I'm just taking saturation out of stuff. So, yeah, we can even change the color boost. I think that's fairly decent. Yeah, you know, it's not perfect, but that's why Disney is Disney. I couldn't do it in 5 minutes in front of people. Golly, what do we have left? What did Esquire say was number 2? Pachinko. Okay, I'll admit I haven't seen Pachinko, so let's see what happens when I do a color grade to Pachinko. And my mouse is behaving badly. That's not great. Man, again, the gilded cage or the pearly gates or whatever, Pachinko, I'm never gonna get a chance to look at because it's over in Apple Land. Okay, so it looks very natural light, natural everything. I kind of know which one I'm gonna pick. I just gotta find a good shot to match that. I'm also a white person, so it's not gonna look one-to-one. It's just not. Actually, the color is really contextual. I mean, for the sake of what I'm doing, I'm gonna pick this because I have an idea. Because I haven't done what I'm about to do today. So it's gonna be this. It just is. And what I'm gonna do is obviously extremely high contrast. There's bright light from the dock coming in from the right onto his face, highlight on his face, and then it gets progressively darker. There's a Rembrandt there. It's a very beautiful shot. Very natural, a little contrasty, but yeah, it's very all the things. Very into it. Yeah, and it's wow, it's man, yeah, what a look actually, quite a look. I'm gonna have to get rid of that stupid shirt no matter what. I can already tell. Again, this is just my Blackmagic footage, so this is what it looked like came out of the camera, and then this gets us into Rec 7 and 9 world, and so now we can start working. First thing is obviously going to be exposure, and this is going to be most of the work that I do because I'm going to probably have to do at least a couple additional exposure adjustments using gradients and stuff. But let's try it. Let's go for it. Just bring it down to sort of match his skin tone, something like that. And yeah, I mean that's basically what it is. I can grab a still and actually compare. I just want to look what the background's doing. So it's significantly darker, but his face, oh, we need to swap it. So his face though, I'm pretty okay with. I'm still too bright, but I'm not like catastrophically too bright. I can bring it down. brain's getting tired. Brain is getting real tired. Yeah, let's bring it down just a little bit more. I think the move is actually, let's bring everything but the highlights down. Oh, we're in log, aren't we? Yikes. Something like that, and then let's see if we can put some, nope, we don't want to do that. So I don't have any gradient because I'm lit straight on. You can see that under my chin even. He's got an extreme gradient, so that'll be a thing that we do in a second, but I think I want to go ahead and knock out the color first, and so let's call this, we'll call this, again, Teal Straw. That seems to be the name of the game this year. So teal in the lowlights, straw in the highlights. So let's push a little bit of teal, and that's probably enough. And then some gold into the midtones because we live in the midtones. And that's probably it. I think I might also just go in and get rid of red as an idea. See if I can make it darker. What's it gonna do? Also, that stupid shirt. God, that shirt is just ruining me. And saturation, get rid of the red. That's gonna touch my face, so let's do the purple first. And where is my face actually at? I think it's there, so this is probably fine. And then we'll just put a dot there, get rid of that dot. What's going on with my neck here, bro? Oh well, just ignore that stupid shirt. I know I do. You know, for the sake of what we're doing, let's just add a note. Let's just call it shirt. This shirt has ruined me so many times. Let's just grab the shirt. And then let's just widen it a bit because it's not getting everything. I hate that. Do it the hard way. Do it live. I still have my lips, which is not great. Something like that. There we go. And can we pre-filter it out? Something like that. Nope. Let's leave the pre-filter. It's a red frame, so it's not like it's that big of a deal. And now we can do whatever we want to it. I could make it tan, but it's going to look horrible if I do that, but I will try. Sort of in that world right there, and then drop the color boost. What a disaster. Like a zombie. I mean, I don't hate it. It's silly. If you don't know it's there, you don't know it's there, right? It just looks sunburned. Okay, so the last thing is we need to do a gradient on his face, and I do want to push some more straw into the world of the living. We'll just have to adjust the gradient as we do that. shoot. This is why messing with keys is so frustrating, because you can get it, but you can also just totally screw it up. All right, that'll probably do. And we just need to post filter. Does post filter helped? No. Do shadow. No, that didn't do anything. Denoise. No. Morph is not good. Grow. It's making my teeth look scary. That's the problem. No, we're not doing any of this. It is what it is. I look like I ate a scary chocolate bar. That's fine. I don't care. Yeah, we definitely still need to go more gold though. Midtones, I can already tell. So let's just take a lot of blue out. And let's do some gradients. So we'll do 2. To fake the idea that there's brightness over here. We'll do that. And so this is more relighting than actual like color grading, but it is what it is. Need to flip it. There we go. All right, and now we'll just go crazy with it. We'll do log, we'll do highlights, we'll just try to ruin everything. Oh, we're close. I mean, it's silly. It's definitely silly. Something like that, maybe. You can see it. That's the only problem, is you can see it. But, you know, that's the world we live in. And I might do one more. I might just copy paste and fix this one. Bring that one down because that's insane. Oh, I see. So this one needs to be over here, and then this one needs to be over here. I mean, there's no right way to do this. That's definitely the case, but yeah, something like that. I mean, ignoring the fact that that's a really unmotivated shadow. It's closer than it could be. I did a bad job. All right, number 1. Let's just go to number 1. Let's just end this. Edit. What did Esquire say is number 1? It's Severance on Apple TV. So I will never, ever, 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 ever get to see it because it's on Apple TV, and it's what we got. That's fine. I'm super burned out. I don't know about you guys. But let's get to the end of this, because then you can move on with your life, as can I, and we'll find a good piece of Severance to look at. Oh, that was repeating itself. That's fine though. I don't care. It's Adam Scott with longish hair. Yeah, this is just, it's a good grade, but it's not an aggressive. It's not like an aggressive look at me kind of grade. It's just kind of like just a little bit of heightened reality. It's a really good looking grade. I think especially these scenes. I don't really have the shots to match these, but maybe that. I could probably do that. Yeah, we're going wedding style. How about that? Some clean white. This will be good because I don't have any clean white stuff. So let's be real strategic on which one of these I pick. Otherwise, I'm gonna just make a real fool out of myself. Clean white. Obviously, that's the easy one, except for that stupid shirt. But for what we're doing, I think it might be this one. I don't know. His face is kind of desaturated, so I don't. The question is, could I get enough saturation in my skin while still having this look clean white? I think so. This would be harder. My skin is too close to this, I think, for that to work. You know what? Go big or go home, right? I'm only embarrassing myself on this podcast, on this live that nobody's watching anyway. Let's try to do it on this one. So I'm not even going to use the white balance. I'm just going to ignore that, but I will leave it there as a white balance node in case I need it. Actually, yeah, let's just turn it off. There we go. And let's see if we can do it. I think I can do it in 3 nodes. The only thing I'm really worried about is his skin tone might be tricky, but it's on the skin tone line. He just looks dead because it's so desaturated, because that might actually be a consequence of the color grade, actually, because so the way to fix this to make it if you're ever in a situation where you need the walls to be white and the walls could have been white, what you gotta do is you got to figure out a way to grab the walls somehow and make them white. And the easiest way to do that is lights. It's really easy because it's just luma versus sat, and you just figure out how bright the lights are. So like that, for instance, and there it is. And so anything past this little marker just needs to go down to 0 saturation, and there you go, something like that. So that's the easy way to fix white walls if there's a lot of light on them. This is a bit of a different story because it worked for him, but it's interesting. I could white balance the back and then do a parallel node and white balance my skin correctly. I think that's the move. So let's do a parallel. I've already lied. I'm not going to do it in 3. So I'm going to do a parallel node. We'll do walls, we'll do face, call it skin. Okay, so in theory, yeah, we're in parallel. Parallel is important. I could do, if I do layer mixer, then I could do composite mode. I will play with that later. Let's go back to parallel node. So the skin will be what it is. Let's do the walls first. So we need to white balance the walls. There's a bunch of different ways to do it. I think the easy way is just to do that, and then just pull even more out of I believe the midtones. So we'll pull some yellow out by adding bluish. Might be we're in log. That's why. That's fairly close.
It's not perfect, but there's a way to make it perfect, which is to take out color boost. And there's your white walls. White-ish walls. There's a little bit of blue on there, so let's take two more blue out. There we go. Now the face is a problem. So let's try to bring the skin back face-wise. Yeah, you know what? I do want to morph into a layer mixer because I want the composite mode to be... we'll do soft light. No, I don't like that. Composite mode normal. We'll just grab the skin. We'll just do that. This is one of those few exceptions where I think if you're doing layers or parallels, you can, if you grab the skin, that's fine because skin needs to look like skin. So if there's any reason to grab a key, it's to fix the skin, because if you can't get the skin to look correct, then you're boned. And that is just the truth. Okay. Problem is that freaking wall is just so much skin-like that it's tricky. I'm losing some lip. Also just the sheer brightness of everything. I could do like a whatchamacallit, a window, but I don't want to. I don't want to if I can help it. Let's just pre-filter and see if we can get some of this stuff out. We can, okay. And the stuff that remained is relatively skin tone in its nature. I buy that. We are gonna blur it just, oh, maybe clean white. No, clean black. Something like that, maybe. One of my eyes is not being grabbed. So let's pull up Adam Scott here. And yeah, he's desaturated. I look like a monster, man. That's okay though. So we need to get back on the skin tone line. And because we're just grabbing the skin anyway, we're just gonna move the hue back over. And we're gonna drop some, I think color boost is the move. Obviously my one eye looks terrifying and the key is not grabbing my hair correctly, but we can try to fix that. Yeah, that might actually be okay. I mean, it's not great. It's not great. But it is kind of what they're doing. I guess just to be real dirty about it, let's just do one of these. Obviously that you'd have to track that for multiple shots, but it is what it is. So yeah, there it is. There's your Severance. That's definitely not how they did it, but that's how I did it. Spooky dooky. Let's fix the walls. The walls look scary, so we'll just take the saturation out of them. And then we'll push a little bit of, I think a little bit of yellow. Something like that. I mean, honestly, from that to that, it kind of works. Mine went too far. See that now? Something like that, and then we need to fix the blue. There's like a, let's get rid of this blue cast. Oh, we need some blue, don't we? Yeah, I mean, it's crazy, but it's not unloved. Okay, so there it is. Let's just go through it real quick, just to really pat ourselves on the butt and tell ourselves we did a good job. Let me do some cleaning real quick. Switch to page edit. So that needs to go up to a new. Let's just okay. That goes up. Yep. Nope. That goes up. Nope. All thumbs. Okay. We just gotta zoom in on these and see which ones it is. Is that one then? Yeah, okay. Get the lasso back on. Nope. There we go. Okay. It's this one. Okay. This will make sense in a moment, I swear. Is this what we do in the shadows? Yeah, okay. Let's just go this way with it. I'm just lining these all up so we can see them all together in the light box in a moment. The rehearsal, I don't know which one I did. I'm gonna have to look. The first one then. Okay. So it was silly me. It's this one, okay. It's definitely that one. My Lotus is having trouble loading. It's that one. Andor is gonna look like that. That was a failed experiment, and Severance is the first one, right? Yeah. Okay. So with any luck, it's all going to show up in the color page now, and we can look at it. There we are. So going from least to first, according to Esquire magazine, your favorite place for all things opinion of TV, we got Interview with a Vampire is right here, and that's the look. So these two are Interview with a Vampire. Yeah, I buy it. I buy it. The next two up are the Bear. These two are the Bear. The two gold ones are What We Do in the Shadows. This is Star Trek. This is not Nathan for you. The Rehearsal. This is a movie or show I haven't seen. Let's see, The Rehearsal. This is what is WOTS? I don't even. We Own the City. See, yeah, that's how much I was paying attention. So these two are We Own the City. This is the White Lotus. This is the this is Andor. This is Pachinko, and this is Severance. And we can put them side by side. That's a good way to do it too. So let's go ahead and do it. So these two right next to each other. Yeah, this is Interview with a Vampire. I buy it. Here's the Bear. The more I'm looking at the Bear, the more I like it. This is What We Do in the Shadows. It's silly and it's terrible, but honestly, I'm okay to forgive myself on that one. Here's Star Trek, and I don't know. I think I got the vibe right. This is The Rehearsal. It's Rec 709, so it kind of looks like it looks. This is We Own the City. Yeah, I could have used more work now that I'm looking at it, but that's fine. I think it's because that midtone detail thing was making things worse. Yeah. This is the White Lotus. I think I actually got fairly close on the White Lotus, and then this is Andor. Yeah, I'm seeing flaws. That's why you always have to go back through it. This was just a failed experiment. Pachinko, and then Severance I'm actually weirdly proud of. Yeah, right? Um, I could even have dropped the exposure on the blue a little bit to really sell it. I might just do that real quick. Yeah, let's go into hue versus loom. How about grab blue and then just bring it down a bit, and then bring that down a bit. Right? Crushing it. Okay, well that's the whole kit and caboodle. Thank you for playing along as I went through Esquire's list of the top 10 2022 shows. Best shows of 2022 is the name of their article. Esquire magazine, the number one place for opinions about shows. Interview with a Vampire, The Bear, which is a high recommend. What We Do in the Shadows, I think maybe the funniest show this year. Star Trek Strange New Worlds, hashtag not my Star Trek. The Rehearsal, no comment. We Own the City, I didn't watch it. I'm not a David Chase guy. It's David Chase, right? David Simon. I'm not a David Simon guy. The White Lotus, loving it, super happy. Andor is behind the Star Wars paywall, or the Disney paywall that I just will not pay for. Pachinko, don't know anything about it. It's on Apple TV. And Severance, also on Apple TV. Also don't know anything about it. Apparently it's awesome. So that's that. You sat through, if you watched this, 2 hours of me tripping over myself trying to do a color grade, and I feel okay about it. So let's all agree to go get some sleep now. Oh, I realized I just totally ruined those lights. Yeah, if you're not at home, get home, go get some rest. Taking care of you is the most important thing. Isn't that what people say? Isn't health a big part of YouTube? Be healthy, positive vibes, love yourself and love one another. Mental illness is I don't know. That's gonna get me canceled. See ya.